Hey, welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be reacting to Senator Rand Paul, which I salute to you, Rand Paul. I like you because you're speaking the truth right now. But Senator Rand Paul on Trump's tariffs. Trade is an integral part of capitalism. That is a fact. Subscribe, turn on post notifications, smash that like button up, and watch this video all the way through. I definitely appreciate you for doing that. And definitely, we go live on Saturday, so I take the lives down every time I go live. So when I figure it out, we're going to go live and we're going to debate. $10 for a debate. I put $10 up. Nah, matter of fact, I ain't going to charge y'all because we all in shambles right now. They look like I got titties. I'm trying to look like I got titties. I'm buff. Rock, man. You see these arms? Let's go. Anyways, let's get it. Let's go. Oh, it's already on. Wait, hold up. Sorry, y'all. Technical difficulties for a second. Let's go ahead and go here. Uh-oh. Hold on, y'all. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? Oh, no. 1 second, y'all. Nope, it's right here. Alright, I got it. Alright, we're gonna get some. Alright, now let's get it. Let's go back. Alright, let's go.
Someone once said this. The truth is, tariffs are taxes. They don't punish foreign governments, they punish American families. When we tax imports, we raise the price of everything, from groceries to smartphones, washing machines, and every other conceivable product. It is time that we save the American people from high prices and prevent the Democrats' restoration of power. It's time to terminate the tariffs. Our next guest, that's who, Republican Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky. How did we get here? How did the Republican Party get here, Senator?
How did we all get here? I mean, the whole debate is so fundamentally backwards and upside down. It's based on a fallacy. And the fallacy is this, that somehow in a trade, someone must lose. That somehow when you trade with someone, there's a loser and someone's taking advantage of you and China's ripping you off or Japan's ripping you off. It's absolutely a fallacy. Every trade that occurs in the marketplace is mutually beneficial. If you have a free society and I trade with you, if you want to sell me your coat and I give you $200 for it, we both agree to it and we're both happy with the trade. No American consumer trades with China. They trade with Walmart, or they may buy something from China, but they individually buy something they want and they make a decision. The trade is always a win-win. Now, you could artificially do this accounting between countries and say, oh, trade deficit, look at this trade deficit. But I have a trade deficit with my grocery store. The people who employ me, if I work for Corvette and they employ me, they have a trade deficit with my labor. They buy my labor and I never buy their cars. So you can have this artificial accounting and it makes it look like a bad thing, but you have to ask yourself, is trade good or bad? And if you look at the trade deficit, in times of a recession, the trade deficit goes down. So if the tariffs push us into a recession, we could reduce the trade deficit because we're all buying less stuff. We have to get back to the fundamentals of, is trade good or is trade bad?
Best point ever, because think about it. And this is what I've always noticed. This is what I noticed about his specific, his little tariff thing he's got going on. Recording. You got me over blowing kisses and recording. Oh, nah, it's Mama Bear, y'all. It's Mama Bear. Anyways, the trade deficit is with certain countries, right? Certain countries that have lesser economies trade more with us, right? There seems to be a deficit with them, but I think they're doing it because it defends their country. I'm distracted a little bit, but let's keep going, because what he's saying is correct. You want the lowest price possible, and there's always an exchange for both sides. There's a reason that certain things exist. And I noticed that South Africa had one of the highest, but I think the highest tariff was because it was trying to protect its people there. And we don't need protection because our industries damn near control the world in a degree. Like, I don't know if I'm right about that. Y'all correct me in the comment section. But let's keep going.
You are maybe getting some support and some praise from Democrats, but the support and praise from Republicans, you're saying that you're getting it, but these are individuals that you don't even want to be on the record for saying that. Is that fair to say?
It's a quiet whisper, and people come up to me in the hall. You know how in Atlas Shrugged they would come up and say, "Who is John Galt?" They whisper in my ear, "Free trade is good. Keep going, keep going." But they don't want to say it because of the politics of it. And look, when I put free trade articles on my Twitter account, I get mobbed. I mean, I get what they call ratioed. I get more comments than likes, which they say isn't good. But we have to have this debate. And people have to understand that trade is between individuals, not countries, and it's a false accounting. So I'm committed to this. I'll keep talking about it. And there's one graph, if you look at it, and it has trade. Trade for the last 70 years went up exponentially, international trade, but so did GDP per capita. We get wealthy with trade, not without trade. It's such a fundamental debate that it's worth having.
Facts, man. That's good that he's speaking up to. That shows that he's not biased. He's not sticking to one side. He's listening to arguments and seeing what fits perfectly for the American people, and that's good.
And I get all that. So it's almost like it was almost like a creep. Okay, what about some targeted tariffs? Okay, well, let's do it this way. Well, what about China? And then there's fentanyl, and you can sort of see the creep, right. Mission creep, or whatever you call it. Now we're at across-the-board tariffs, and even Republicans that in the past would have called themselves Reagan Republicans are kind of going along with it. How does it end?
Tariffs, like sanctions, are good until they're applied. Once they're applied, they're of no value and they're a detriment to the economy. But if you threaten tariffs and you get other people to lower their tariffs, you can say, "Oh, this is wonderful." If you threaten sanctions and you can get a country to change their behavior, that's wonderful. If you have them in place, they're only of value if you can remove them. So if you can remove tariffs and lower tariffs and get more equal tariffs, that's good. But we have to start from talking about the truth. One of the things they say with Canada is, "Oh, there's a 270% tariff on dairy products going from the U.S. into Canada." Well, you know what the real tariff is? 0. That's a big difference between what the truth is. So there's a certain amount of goods, dairy goods, that go to Canada every year, and they go at 0%. If we exceed a certain amount, there's this ridiculous 270% tariff, but we've never encountered it. And the USMC renegotiated it and raised the level that's under 0. Trump should be congratulated for USMC raising the amount of dairy that goes in at 0. But we have to have an honest debate. We can't go around saying that there's a 270% tariff when that's not really the truth.
Senator,
That's interesting. He just debunked something that we all thought was real. We thought Canada had a 270% tariff. I thought it was 240% tariff. But there is no tariff, so what the hell? What is he talking about? There's a deficit, but it's because we make more money, of course. So, we spend more money in their country and they spend more money in ours. It's weird.
Had Ray Dalio on talking about how he understands why we got to this point. There are sections of the country that have gotten hollowed out by free trade. People who lost their jobs, industries that left.
Looks like the market's going back up though a little bit. It's interesting.
Towns upended. What could and should we do to help those who have been hurt by free trade if it's not tariffs?
The middle class, if and when they've been hollowed out, have been hollowed out by free spending, by debt and inflation. So the last 4 years were difficult for the middle class, and they lost ground, and the average family income went down because they lost purchasing power. Their wages didn't keep up with inflation. Inflation comes from debt. It's nothing to do with free trade. Trade is proportional to wealth.
What happened, Senator, over the last 50 years, losing 60,000 factories? What should we have done about that? You can see where the president's coming from.
Yes and no. If you look at the last 60 or 70 years of household income, the lower class under 50,000 shrunk slightly. The middle class shrunk slightly. And you know where they all went? To the upper class. Over $100,000 category tripled in constant dollars over the last 70 years. the truth is just, we have to discuss the truth. The middle class shrunk slightly, but they became richer. So, you know, there's so many good facts on this. Steven Pinker's written about it. Humanprogress.org has written about this. We have to work on facts, and it's the job really to point out fallacies. It is a fallacy that people have gotten poor. The world is richer than it's ever been. 100,000 people leave poverty every day. I mean, it's extraordinary, the phenomenon of capitalism, but trade is an integral part of capitalism. Yep. Trade is just voluntary association. It is part of capitalism.
We learned all this. Pencil.
Dang, that's some fact checking for your ass. So it shrunk a little bit and they got richer. That makes a lot of sense, you know, because I could say throughout the years that I make a lot more money than my mom made, right? My mom had a really decent job, but I make a lot more money at a basic job than my mom made at a decently good paying job now, you know? And of course, like now her income probably would have increased working in that job, but it's interesting. Like, he's right. Like the middle class has kind of risen a little more than they've fallen. That's interesting. I like this guy. I really do, man.
What would the world look like without comparative advantage and everything else? I don't. Are we rewriting the rules of capitalism? It's crazy.
Well, that's why we can't give up on this. This isn't me versus Donald Trump. I like Donald Trump. I've supported most of his cabinet. I'm a chairman of a committee. I've pushed his people through. Will continue to do so. I want to cut spending. I want to balance the budget. I support so many things, but I can't support a fallacy that is going to make us lose our wealth. I have a retirement account too. I want my retirement account to stay there, and I think tariffs is going to decimate it.
Okay, so Senator, I got maybe a difficult question. If you were to advise the leaders of foreign countries that now have to negotiate with the president, what would you tell them to do? Would you tell them to ratchet things up? Because ultimately you think these tariffs are a bad thing, and maybe that would force the president to stand down? Do you think the president looks at the market and says that he has less leverage, more leverage? How would you think about it in that context? And then separately, I'll ask you later what you think the CEO community that's thinking about where they're supposed to invest and what they're supposed to do in this moment are supposed to do.
Right. You know, I'm fundamentally an American. It's hard for me to take the side of another country, but like a CFO has to do that. So if you're a CFO or a Treasury Secretary of a country, you have to do it. When you argue for a trade war is based on emotions, not facts. So the trade war won't make them richer. The trade war will say, damn it, we're going to get even. We'll get even with those SOBs, but it doesn't make the foreign country richer either. The smartest thing actually would just be to keep your tariffs low and let the U.S. founder in their problems. But the thing is, that's not what typically happens. Emotions take over, and right now it's ratcheting up. But I can tell you this, if people care about the freedom of those people in Taiwan, they shouldn't want to cut off all trade with China. Okay. At the moment there is no trade with China, that is the moment that Taiwan will be taken by force. The main thing that keeps Taiwan as free is trade.
He's got a point. He's got a point.
Bridgewater Associates founder Ray Dalio posting on LinkedIn.
He's got a point. He's definitely got a point. He's got a point. I don't know what y'all think about that, but like the only thing keeping them like alive is trade. So hopefully like that doesn't cut off or become bad. But Ron Paul speaking facts, man. If y'all are mad at him right now, that's crazy because he's actually just being honest about how he feels about attacks on the American citizens. Whoop. Attacks on the American citizens. So I don't understand the issue. I don't understand the issue. I think he's doing a good thing. That this is really good. This is good for the country. You need people on both sides to speak against things and for things, and tariffs don't seem to be a good idea. Anyways, I'm out. Peace.